Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Hi everybody, happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here today. And today we're talking about a topic that is one of my very favorite things to talk about. I feel like I say that a lot, but it's just because I'm so passionate about everything. But today I want to talk with you about what I'm calling ethical magic for your private practice. And you know what? This went out in my email this week and I had so much positive feedback about it that I thought, okay, let's take this even further and do a little podcast episode about it. So welcome. I am super pleased to be able to talk with you about this. And you know what? It's come about because if you've been following me for a little while, you might remember my story about how, I reconnected with what spirituality meant for me about 2 years ago as a result of some changes that were happening in my professional industry. And that led me into manifesting, and I fell in love with manifesting, and it became almost an obsession for me. And I had some really great results with it. I started off small, manifesting small things, and then I manifested in the space of about 3 months. On one occasion, it was $23,000, and on the next, it was $20,000. My mum, as you know, famous story, manifested a piece of chocolate orange Jaffa. I'm sorry if you can hear pitter patter. I'm working from home and my dog Gabe is walking around on the floorboards here, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, so I fell in love with it. And then what happened was I started sharing about manifesting on my social media. This wasn't very well received by some people in my professional community, okay? And then I ended up doing what was true to my heart and true to my purpose. And I ignored what they were saying and I went and started my own group anyway. And it was called Manifestation Playbook. Then it changed to Manifest Change. And the group had about 300 people in it. And all of them happened to be those psychologists, counselors or social workers. There was, I think, 2 lawyers and a couple of doctors in there as well. So anyway, and then what happened was, people started saying, oh, it's not evidence-based, Brooklyn, and oh, I don't know about this. And, there's a whole lot of fear-mongering that can happen in our profession. And, if you're not confident in what you're doing, then of course you're going to fall victim to that or prey to that, and it's going to bring up a lot of self-doubt for you. And then what happens is you go from being the light to recoiling into your shadow, right? And for me, what that looked like was I started to dial down my light because I needed to accommodate others. Isn't that ridiculous? But anyway, that's what ended up happening. And it's only been over the last 6 months or so that I've started to really embrace that spiritual connection again, get back into the manifesting and speaking about it publicly again. And one of the best things that's happened is about 6 months ago, I just decided I wasn't going to do psychology anymore. And, there's been a gradual winding down of the practice. So that finishes on the 31st of August. We're at the very tail end of it now. And I decided that I was going to call myself like a spiritual psychologist over these last 6 months. And so that's what I did. And I was quite nervous about doing that because people were like, oh, I don't know, Brooklyn, it might not be okay to do that because it's not really evidence-based. And what's spirituality anyway? And isn't that a bit woo-woo? And, is it professional? And so of course, there are going to be people who feel afraid by what's different and what's new, but this is part of being a leader, isn't it? When you're a leader, you're going to be confronted by other people's fear because you're different. And you have to feel really confident being different. And being different means you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and you've got to be okay with that. I mean, if you're a practice director or a practice owner, then you are already familiar with the idea that there's going to be hiccups in the practice, and you being not liked by some people is going to be part of that. Especially as we're going through this big awakening. You know, there's a awakening that's happening, globally at the moment. Everybody's starting to become more aware of what's important, and there's this big shift away from money. There's a big shift away from the material possessions. It's no longer about having the Ferrari and having millions of dollars in the bank and having big teams if you don't want them. What seems to be more important to people now is authenticity, being themselves, creating a practice that aligns with their soul's purpose. That they, so many practice owners that I work with have felt like it wasn't okay to have the practice that they really wanted to. And this comes up in coaching when I'm talking to people and say, okay, let's just stop there for a second. Tell me, why on earth did you get into psychology in the first place? You spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on your education. If you're like me, you spent 14 years at university, getting your PhD and everything. Like, what was your intention? What was the purpose behind the goal? And you know what? People often will look at me and they'll say, oh my gosh, I don't remember. Or they'll say, oh, well, actually, yeah, I was inspired by somebody that helped me when I was young. And so that's why I wanted to become a psychologist or a social worker or a counselor. I wanted to give back. But what's happened is they've gotten caught up in the business side of the business and not actually living their purpose. And so what I want to do is help people get back to that. And it's safe for you to live your purpose is what I'm saying. And what I realized as a result of my journey is that I had deviated from my purpose, and I'd stopped doing the things that light me up. Like I'd stopped using crystals, I'd stopped using tarot cards, I'd stopped manifesting, I'd stopped doing all of that. And so what I wanted to do was find a way of working that would allow me to have ethical magic in my private practice. And so for me, what this looked like was teaching people how to manifest by using tools that had been empirically validated in psychology. There were articles that you could readily download on the web that, it's called Ovid, not COVID, is the library system that they used at my university, which was Monash. So all the tools and strategies that I share with my group, that I share with my clients, although they're spiritual, they've got the evidence behind them. But here's the other thing, I guess part of me also says, why is it important to you to have the evidence behind it? Like, who even says that you need that evidence behind it? Where is that story coming from? And so I hear this a lot from your private practice owners. They're like, oh, well, I really want to do Reiki, but, there's no evidence for it. Or I would really like to teach my clients how to manifest as well, but there's no evidence for it. And therefore, I can't color outside the lines because I'm going to get into trouble. And I don't, this is such a restrictive story. It's such a limiting story. And I feel that when you're operating out of alignment, how on earth can you show up in alignment for your clients? Like, your clients are missing out. And aren't they the whole reason that you do this work in the first place? Like, regardless of how much you get paid or how much time off you get or what your work-life balance is like, at the end of the day, didn't we all sign up for this because we had gifts that we wanted to share with clients, because we wanted to help somebody have a simpler life, a better life, a healthier life, whatever it was? That was your why. That was your purpose. But you've forgotten that because you've been all caught up in the story of fear. It's like fear mindset governing us. And the more I think about it, the more I think it's not cool. And, I totally understand where some of these fears come from, because we're told by membership organizations that we're encouraged to be part of that, if you break the rules, then you're going to get into trouble and this. But who's making up the rules, and what do the rules actually say? And when I think about people saying, oh, I would really love to talk about law of attraction, or I'd really love to talk about manifesting, for example, just talk about that. But I can't, because what if I get into trouble? Because what if it's not scientific? And I just feel like you're kind of ruining it by wanting to have all of the evidence, because what you're trying to do is take something over here and squish it into somebody else's framework over there so that it's okay for you to deliver it. Well, if that's what you want to do, and if that's what's going to give you safety and security, well, absolutely do that. Try and squish it in. That's fine. And there are absolutely ways that you can squish it in. For example, a lot of the stuff in spirituality, which, as you know, spirituality is not religion. Spirituality is, I talk about going within. Spirituality is like the relationship that you have with yourself. It's with your intuition. It's with, Gabe. It's with your intuition. It's with your higher self. It's with your consciousness, whatever you want to call it. That's what spirituality is about. It's about cultivating those strengths and gifts within you. And so if you want to look at the evidence for that, isn't it what psychology is all about? Isn't psychology all about helping people find the answers within themselves too? And, when you talk about manifesting is essentially looking at what's your goal, what's the intention behind it, what action are you going to take, what result do you want, how are you going to feel. It's so similar to positive psychology. It's so similar to acceptance and commitment therapy. It's so similar to CBT. And, we talk in manifesting and law of attraction about tools like visualizing. Well, visualizing isn't unique to spirituality. Visualizing isn't even unique to psychology. Psychologists didn't even invent that, yet they like to use it, and it's got evidence behind it. So there are so many tools that we use in spirituality that if you want to go and look for the evidence, because that's going to make you feel more comfortable and that's going to make you feel safe, do it. And if you can't find the evidence for something, let me know and I'll help you find the evidence for it, if that's what you need to get you to the place where you want to be, to have that practice that aligns with who you are, who you want to be, the type of people that you want to help. Because here's the thing, you're manifesting all the time, whether you're consciously doing it or not, whether you're intentional about it or not. Everything that's showing up in your practice now is a result of beliefs that you've been holding on to before. It's a result of actions you have already taken, right? You are living in your practice past beliefs, past behaviors, past feelings, past vibes, all of that sort of stuff. So you can absolutely consciously and intentionally manifest a practice that aligns with your purpose, your values, your vision. Okay? It just means that you have to pay attention to what you're doing rather than be on autopilot all the time. So yes, you can manifest your private practice. Yes, you can manifest referrals. Yes, you can manifest ideal candidates to apply for roles that you need to fill for your private practice. Yes, you can manifest an increase in your turnover. Yes, you can manifest getting out of the lease. Yes, you can manifest finding a new premises to work from. Yes, you can manifest new branding. Yes, you can manifest a better balance so that you can have time at home with your children and not be chained to the therapy couch for 8 or 9 hours a day. Okay? Yes, you can manifest your perfect virtual assistant or virtual admin. Okay? Yes, you can manifest a fully booked diary. I know because I've done all of these things, and I know because I help my private practice clients do all of these things, and I know because I help people who are in my private practice monthly mentorship group do all of these things. They're doing it all and they're getting results, and you can too. The thing is, you're already doing it. You just don't recognize it perhaps because you're not being intentional with it. But you can absolutely manifest just about anything that you really, really want in your private practice. You just have to hold an open mind about it. You can use all of the universal laws to inform your private practice and provide you with a lens to understand and interpret what's happening for the practice at any given time. And when you do that, when you use those laws as a lens, well, guess what happens? It removes the emotion from things so that you can get back into your director mindset. You can get the practice back into alignment with your vision, values, and purpose, and start calling in all of the things that you want, whether that's visibility, whether that's opportunity, whether it's referrals, whether it's, dream clients that you've always, wanted to work with but haven't been able to yet for whatever reason. Maybe you've been chained to Medicare mindset and thinking, oh my gosh, if I let go of Medicare, the practice is going to sink. BS, it's not going to sink at all. You manifest more clients, you manifest more revenue streams, you manifest more opportunities, right? Anything is possible. And people just like you get results every single day by using spiritual practices, okay? If you want to learn more about spiritual practices that you might find helpful for your business to help your business move forward, then of course contact me. I'll put my details in the show notes for you. I would love to support you with this. It's my jam, and I'm stepping into it more and more and more every day. And in my group, they don't know this yet because I haven't announced it, but in my group in September, there's something very, very new that's happening, and I'm super excited for it. But I'm going to be teaching them how to bring ethical magic into their private practice, and there's going to be a series of mini trainings for them about how they can do it. And I'm going to be providing them with tools that are innovative, that don't exist. I know this because I'm creating them. They don't exist anywhere else. They're super powerful, and I know that because I'm testing them. And all of the people in my group, or just about all of them, have worked with me before, and they know that I don't share anything until I have tested it. So I'm in the testing phase at the moment. And if you want to learn about what's happening there, then you absolutely can as well. I am super excited about it because I know it's going to open up so much more. It's going to be so expansive for them. And I want them to have that experience of expansion for their private practice and get out of the Medicare mindset, and look at all of these other beautiful things that they can be doing that perhaps they hadn't thought was possible for them yet. Okay? I am a possibilitarian. I want to show them. I want to show you what can be possible for you in your private practice if you will just let me help you lift the veil. Okay, guys, I want to say thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for leaving a review and for the emails. And if there's a topic you would like a podcast episode on, please do contact me because I'm more than happy to do it for you. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Happy Wednesday. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.